In 2009, the Stargate franchise tried to reinvent itself. It traded adventure for angst, heroes for hostages, and optimism for, well, pure dread. The result was Stargate Universe, a show with a genius premise, stunning visuals, and one of the most devastating cancellations in sci-fi history. So what went wrong? How did a franchise that ruled television for over a decade suddenly lose its way? The truth is, SU didn't just fail, it committed 3 unforgivable sins against its own fans. Hi everyone, I am the Geek from Geek Nexus, and today we are diving into the sins that caused Stargate Universe dismal failure. Sin number 1, betraying the tone. So first it betrayed the Stargate tone. For more than 14 seasons combined, SG-1 and Atlantis was the comfort food of sci-fi television. It was about teamwork, discovery, and wit. Even in the face of annihilation, you had Jack O'Neill's sarcasm.
I was not singing. I'd know if I was singing.
Rodney McKay's panic.
Well, then Narita and I were planning a small dinner. For us all, nothing fancy.
Rodney.
Well, what does he mean? Then what? Then we won't die horribly?
And not to mention the sentence of adventures each episode delivered.
No, who shot me? Don't change the subject.
Then Stargate Universe arrived. Suddenly it was all grim close-ups, characters constantly on the verge of a breakdown, and a soundtrack that felt like a permanent anxiety attack. It wasn't just dark, it was joyless. Fans showed up for a Stargate adventure and got, well, Battlestar Galactica's Lost in Space. And for a franchise built on light, that sudden shift into shadow felt less like an evolution and more like a complete slap in the face. And that brings us to sin number 2, the agonizingly slow burn. So the second sin was its pacing. Stargate was built on momentum. New planets, new aliens, new threats every single week. And then Universe slammed on the brakes. It embraced the slow burn, mystery box style. And I mean slow burn. As in whole episodes were spent on, well, personal drama or a single malfunction. The big mysteries, like what is the Destiny's mission or who built it, were stretched out with no payoff in sight. Now, a slow burn can work, but you have to give the audience something to chew on, you know? Universe asked for endless patience without giving enough weekly rewards. By the time it started answering questions in Season 2, most of the audience, including myself, had already left out of sheer frustration. And yes, I did eventually go back to finish it, but it was like pulling teeth. Talking about pulling teeth, here's sin number 3, creating characters no one wanted to root for. And just between you and me and the two of us, I consider that the biggest sin of all. Anyway, Stargate succeeded because we loved its people. They were flawed, but ultimately heroic, funny, yet loyal. Universe, on the other hand, deliberately went the other way. Colonel Young was perpetually conflicted and shady. Dr. Rush, don't even get me started on Dr. Rush. He was secretive, manipulative, supposed to be a genius, but a complete pain in the rear. And yeah, more villain than anything else. The crew didn't feel like a team. They felt like hostages forced to argue with each other in each episode. So even the everyman, Eli Wallace, was drowning in angst. When you struggle to find a single person to genuinely cheer for, the entire story loses its anchor. You just stop caring if they survive or not because, well, let's face it, who'd want to be stuck on the same ship with people like that? And I know that I mentioned that there was only 3 sins. I lied, alright. So there is a 4th one, and it is the ultimate betrayal, the actual cancellation of this show. So in short, just as the show was finally finding its footing in Season 2, just as the characters were evolving, mysteries were heating up, it was getting to that point where you could actually start following it got cancelled. And it didn't just end, it ended on a brutal, unresolved cliffhanger. The entire crew goes into stasis, flying blindly into the void, with every single question left unanswered. So after 2 long years of patience and defending the show, the fans were left with nothing, literally. All that potential, gone. But I digress. Now here's the question, could it really have worked? Was Universe doomed from the start? Well, not necessarily. The pieces were there, a brilliant concept, incredible visuals, and a cast of serious actors. But I believe it made one fatal mistake. It tried to be a Stargate show while rejecting everything that made Stargate, well, Stargate. If it had been a standalone series, maybe it could have built its own audience. Or if it had gradually darkened the tone, keeping just a little of that classic adventure spirit it might have kept the old fans while winning new ones. Instead, it fell into a no man's land, too grim for Stargate fans and too slow for casual viewers. In the end, Stargate Universe was a tragic experiment, a show so desperate to be taken seriously it forgot to be enjoyable, a story with cosmic ambition cut down before it could even truly begin. So what do you guys think? Could SGU have succeeded with a few changes, or was it all destined to fail? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more deep dives into sci-fi greatest successes and failures, make sure to subscribe. We've got a lot more universe to explore, and as always, I am your host, the Geek from Geek Nexus, and I'm out of here.